Welcome to Do Good Now, the series where we explore the many ways Terps are doing good on campus, in their community, and around the world. As the nation's first Do Good campus, the University of Maryland is leading the way in experiential learning and social impact. Today, we'll hear the story of one changemaker who's putting those values into action. Erica Estrada-Liou, welcome to Do Good Now. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. We're happy to have you and learn more about your Do Good story here at University of Maryland. So that's the perfect segue to let us know, how do you do good here at UMD?
Right. So here at the University of Maryland, I'm the director of the Academy for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And what we do is we help people be creative, tap into their inner creative potential. Even folks that feel that they are not creative, we are all creative. And we help them apply those creativity skills to any project that they're working on. Whether it be for school or something that they're pursuing in order to do good.
That's great. I have taken some of your workshops and always feel like you find these inroads into people who think, oh, I'm not artistic or I'm not creative, and then they realize they are by the end of it. What are some ways that you sort of maybe work with that or work through that block that some people might have?
Right. I think just kind of giving people little tools and tricks to use whenever they're working. So, for example, one thing that some people often do is when they're trying to come up with an idea for something, they come up with one idea and then they go with that idea. And so instead, we try to get people to pause, generate 10 ideas, and generate maybe 10 more without any constraint. Now, from the 20 that you have, pick one. So just that little moment of pausing and seeing, okay, I'm not going to go with just the first idea I come up with. Let's try to intentionally create many. I think that's one way that kind of gets people feeling a little bit more creative. If they get stuck trying to come up with ideas, we have different tricks and techniques to help them. One of my favorites is using radical creative constraints.
Yeah.
So the next idea, it has to do with puppies, or the next 5 ideas, maybe they have to be inspired by Broadway. And so it gets people thinking and pulling from different experience and contexts that they might be familiar with, and borrowing inspiration from there.
Wow. I've been to your space, The Loft, over here across campus in the Edward St. John Teaching and Learning Center. And it's a really special part of our community where it really does feel like a playroom where there's mixed media, there's arts and crafts materials, there's all sorts of whiteboards, there's modular spaces that you can move around to suit your needs. And I feel like it evokes and elicits that kind of creativity. So it's not just about sitting down and looking at a blank screen or a blank page and then trying to come up with ideas. It's about getting up and moving your body and using materials and making prototypes and using pipe cleaners or different sorts of colored markers to be able to expand that brainstorming potential.
Yeah, exactly. So we were very intentional when we created that space. So the space that we're in dictates sort of what behaviors we practice. And so if we want students and faculty and staff and administrators to collaborate, then let's make sure that there are a bunch of different furniture elements that they can move around to create the collaborative space that makes sense for whatever it is they're working on. So everything in the loft is on wheels, so that people can really think about, okay, what's the goal that I have for today? Let me create the space that's going to help me get to that goal. So you mentioned all of our prototyping materials. We have cardboard, we have popsicle sticks, pipe cleaners, and the hope, and this is something that we've seen, is that by putting those rough materials right there in the space, it lowers the barrier to someone being able to just show the idea that's going on in their mind, right? So rather than us talking through idea, let's build it, or let's both build a version of it, and then go show it to someone and see what they think. If they hate it, it's okay. It was just maybe $1's worth of materials from the loft. So those are the things that we try to plant throughout the space. in order to help inspire people's innovative spirit and creativity.
Wow. What first sparked your passion for these ways of engaging with folks' interest in social impact and innovation?
Yeah, so it was honestly back when I was a student. I studied mechanical engineering, and it didn't feel like a very creative major. And I'm realizing now I'm someone that, likes to talk to people and likes to lean into creativity. And so when I was started to be introduced to sort of the non-engineering aspect of design, more of the human factors, empathy, teamwork, that's where I really started to fall more in love with engineering. And so what decided that I wanted to do is make sure that all students have that access to, those opportunities. You can use interviewing, ethnography, empathy work, and any problem that you're working on, and in any field, not just engineering, not just business, certainly in public policy. This concept of a prototype, again, it's not just for engineers, that can be used by anyone. And the other thing I realized was that one of the problems that I was working on when I was a student was bringing light and power to people living off grid. And the way that we did that, and we developed a product and we started a company, and the company's still going on. And the really key piece of how we did that was it wasn't just a team of engineers. It was engineers, it was business school students. I think we had a law school student working with us. I know we had some folks that were more good with like social sciences and psychology. It was a very interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary team that helped us to address that challenge. And so again, by providing courses here at Maryland that really gets students together from different areas, just as the Do Good Institute does, that is how we're going to solve some of these really tough challenges in the world.
Wow. So speaking of, in what ways has the Do Good Institute supported or accelerated your efforts to take action?
Yes. What's really cool about, I think, both the Academy and the Do Good Institute is, I don't remember the history exactly, but I think we got started around the same time. And so we were both prototyping what should we offer to campus? What does our campus need? And so I think the Academy, we offered these Fearless Ideas courses, and we were funding courses where faculty wanted to, have students addressing some sort of fearless challenge. The Do Good Institute, they were one of the first applicants to that RFP. And we were collaborators. The Academy didn't just say, okay, now go offer that course, tell us how it went. We were building the course together. The Do Good team was very interested in, sort of baking in design and innovation tools into the course so that students could, whatever idea they had to do good, they could scale it, and they could really make sure that they had an idea that people needed and cared about. And so it was just a fantastic way for us to both kind of partner and now eventually scale some of those early prototypes to more students. And of course, the Do Good, we continue to collaborate to this day. I think all of the Do Good courses, they're definitely baking in innovation and design at their core. And we really work together as an innovation ecosystem to provide all students access and opportunities to doing good and to innovating and addressing the challenges that they're passionate about.
So well said. And some of the other guests that we have on this program speak to different aspects of that ecosystem, so that it's not just DGI doing its thing over here, the Academy doing its thing over there. It's all of us working together in symbiosis. And that's, to me, one of the most electrifying parts about being on this campus.
Yes.
Yeah. How have your classroom and real-world engagement shaped your understanding of what it means to do good?
Okay. let me think for a moment about that.
Yeah.
Classroom and real world
So
engagement.
feel free to discuss insights from experiential learning, social impact, social innovation, developing student leaders, partnering with communities, anything that comes to mind.
Yeah, so I think, again, remembering back to when I was a student, I had this passion for wanting to help people as an engineering student.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I learned early on was not assuming that we know what other people need.
Yeah.
Really starting with empathy, the sort of the lingo for it is need finding, and really try to understand what is this whole context and this whole system that you want to somehow change or affect. And so that was groundbreaking for me. Up until that point, in all of my engineering classes, it was all about here's this technical problem, design a widget to solve that technical problem, and not so much, well, but where is this widget going to live,
Right.
and who's going to use it, and how does it get made, and what happens when it breaks. And so that those principles of learning about your stakeholders and the system and the context in which they live was again groundbreaking for me, and that actually helped us create a product that has survived, right, the past let's say 20 years,
Wow.
because we do, the company, it's called Delight Design. They understand where this product is being used, who it's being used by, who it's being fixed by. One of my favorite stories of my role in this startup was I was out in the villages that didn't have access to electricity, and just trying to learn as much as I could about what was it like, what are their power needs, what are their light needs. And one of the times that I went out to the field to visit some of the families that I had been getting close to, I had brought them some prototypes that we had kludged together with some LEDs and some batteries and solar panels. And in one of the houses that I visited, the light that I had asked them to use to give me some feedback, they were still using it. And what was awesome was it had actually broken. So yeah, I wasn't, the best engineer, but they fixed it. So they valued it enough to
Wow.
actually want to fix it versus like, okay, we're going to just get rid of this thing. It's not helpful to us. And so again, like having that closeness and really the understanding of the folks that you are designing for or with, is what we like to say nowadays. That's really important. And I think both the Academy and the Do Good Institute were trying to make sure that those same principles, those attitudes, are baked into all of our students' approaches to any challenge that they're trying to address. Really not assuming that what it is that someone needs or a group of people need, and getting side by side with them. Let's design this together. What would make sense? Let's build the system for this new idea to live and thrive.
I love it. I hear so many of the mantras and the values of the Academy echo in my mind as I'm approaching students or designing a course of start with empathy, or what would the end user want, or the beneficiary, and get buy-in early and often and throughout and after. And I mean, even just going about my day-to-day life, the buttons on the coffee maker don't work the way I think they should. I'm like, they didn't talk to Erica.
Right.
Right. Just let's design this for what we as the people that are designing it think needs to do, rather than the people that are going to be using it day to day. So
Right.
that is such a good illuminating story, Eric.
Yeah.
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 So UMD is the nation's first Do Good campus. What does that mean to you personally?
Well, for me personally, it makes me just very proud
Yeah.
that I get to be here and work with everyone at the Do Good Institute and all of the students. And I think what it really does is it attracts students that also want to do good. And this is not something that we need to convince people to do. they're already there, and so it's about then now enabling them, creating opportunities, creating courses, finding partners that they can work with. So the hard part of, convincing someone maybe that this is worth their time, it's already been done because that's what we're all about. And now it's kind of attracting all these fellow do-good folks out there to be here at Maryland.
Yeah, we're filming this in Thurgood Marshall Hall, right at the entrance to the University of Maryland campus. And it's the first stop on the tour that prospective students and their families come when they visit our campus. They go through our Do Good Rings exhibit. And then the first thing they hear when they visit is, if you want to do good, University of Maryland is a place to do that. And I'm just so proud that we have this ecosystem that supports that. I've had folks that, when we've hosted conferences here, will meander around between sessions and then come back to the, we're here in Thurgood Marshall, for example, and say, Do Good isn't just something that is confined to the School of Public Policy or the Do Good Institute. You see it reflected throughout campus.
Yes.
And that means a lot to me.
Yes.
That we meet people where they are, whether it's engineering or computer science or public health. So I love that you do the same thing with all of your innovation experiences and courses.
Right.
What advice would you give to other Terps who want to start their own Do Good journey?
Just get started.
Okay, yes.
Right? I think sometimes we can feel very overwhelmed by all of the challenges in the world and all of the things that, that we could do better as a society. And what is it? The perfect is the enemy of the good enough. It's not my quote, but I don't know. An old colleague of mine, a person very near and dear to me, used to always say that the perfect is the enemy of the good enough. And so, don't feel like you have to have the perfect idea, the perfect team. You have all the knowledge, right? How can you start prototyping and experimenting now with some of the things that you're interested in addressing and exploring? And then being able to pivot and change and try something else if you realize that it's not working, or to keep going even when it gets really challenging. So definitely just get started.
I love it. I love it. What has been the most surprising or rewarding moment in your Do Good journey so far?
Let me take a moment to think about
of course.
The most surprising or rewarding moment. I don't know if this is a surprising moment. It's definitely a very rewarding thing that has happened. So one of the very first students that took one of the Do Good courses, that was also a Fearless Ideas course, so sponsored in part by the Academy. She took this course, I think, when she was a first-year student, and she had this idea for creating personalized storybooks for kids that had terminal illnesses, inspired by, I think, a family member of hers. And so both the Do Good Institute and the Academy, and I think she also might have had coaches and other places on campus, really supported the student to, first she created just a student group. Eventually, I can't remember if they might have incorporated as a nonprofit. And this organization continued, I think, beyond when she graduated. They would basically write these personalized storybooks for these kids. They would interview the families, I think even interview the kid, and take that inspiration, write a story, create this whole storybook, and then the kid could take it into the hospital with them. And so it was fantastic seeing her learn and change and grow through that journey. And we've continued to stay in close contact. She's still, I think she ended up getting her PhD, and in a design related field, and still does design work today. And so it's just really fantastic to see that is what we are trying to do, is create the future designers and the future innovators. And so when we see students come back and share their story of success and also happiness and joy in their own life, I think those are the moments that are most rewarding.
I love it. You might have just answered this. who or what inspires you to keep pushing forward in this work?
Um, Definitely the students.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I know that there are students out there that maybe, you know, they're looking for something more. They're not quite satisfied with, you know, what they've learned so far in their courses. They want to make a bigger impact. And those are the students that definitely, you know, inspire me to keep going and to keep creating more opportunities and making sure that everyone knows that this is available to them. This
Yeah.
is we need them.
Right. I couldn't agree more with that answer. That's great. So we've got some rapid fire questions for you, and then we will close. So, what is your favorite food spot on campus, Erica?
Oh, favorite food spot? Definitely Stamp.
Yeah, for sure. It's got everything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though the Chick-fil-A line is long,
And it's got
I will wait in it.
awesome. What is your favorite study or work spot on campus?
Oh, I mean, it has to be the
I
loft.
was gonna
It
say,
has to be
like,
the loft.
yeah. What is the favorite class you've ever taken or taught? Could be here or elsewhere.
Hey, I'm going to say the very first Do Good class because it was a giant teaching team. I think we had like 6 or 7 of us working on the
Wow.
course.
Wow.
And we were cramped into a tiny classroom somewhere on campus because we didn't have the loft yet. And that was one of my favorite classes to
Love
teach.
it. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received during your time at UMD?
Ooh, best piece of advice. Oh, what was the thing that President Lowe always used to say? Turtles always go forward and never go backward. Or
Okay,
terrapins always go forward and never go backward. Always.
I
You never
like
go
it.
back.
I like it. What's one UMD tradition everyone should try at least once?
Ooh, I mean, uh, well, once a day, eating ice cream at the Maryland Dairy.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Once a week.
Definitely, definitely. What is your favorite UMD sport to watch?
Oh, that's so tough. I love watching Maryland football and I love watching Maryland basketball as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you prefer crab cakes or Old Bay fries?
Crab cakes for sure.
What is your favorite season to be on campus? Fall, spring, summer, or winter?
Fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Back for
Relief from the heat.
exactly.
The
Yes.
beautiful colors. Yeah.
Totally. All right. Last question. Describe the University of Maryland in 3 words.
Passionate, fierce, welcoming.
I love that. Thank you so much, Erica Estrada-Liou. This has been so fun. I feel like I could talk to you for a whole nother hour learning about the Academy and your work to do good here on campus. Thanks for being part of our Do Good campus community. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our newsletter, visit the Do Good Plaza here at the University of Maryland, and consider making a gift to support more change makers like Erica. Together, let's keep the movement going and remember to do good now. Thanks so much,
Yay.
Erica.
Woo.
We did it.
You're like, and now you're